Well, good morning, whatever time of the day it is, and when you're watching this. But today we're really thrilled to have, I suppose, almost part of our team in a sense, and we'll get to the reasons why. But it's certainly an extension of our team but a partner of ours in more senses, I suppose, than what we'll talk about today, from the efficiencies and accountability and process for what Nathan does to us. But we've got Nathan Hutchison from Pax8. Most people that would be listening to this would have no idea who Pax8 is, which we will get to, and that is completely fine. And they do a lot for us, and they're a strong partner. But Nathan, welcome. Give us a bit of background about yourself, your history, your journey. I probably will preface it with the fact that this is very much in regards to our industry, the IT industry. But today we're sort of giving a sneak peek to other partners in the IT industry as to what you do, but also to our clients and who we serve as a little bit of a peek and inside story to the method behind our madness. We're not just winging this at All I.T. We've got a bit of a process. But start with yourself, mate, your background and your history, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so I've worked in IT industry about 16 years now. So I started straight out of school pretty much, and initially started out as a technical role, moved my way up through technical roles, 10 plus years being hands-on. Found that I loved solving business problems and challenges and identifying ways to be more efficient or add more value, and then started turning that focus towards inward and took on management and leadership roles, from applying it to clients to applying it to our own business. And eventually that path led me to join Pax8 Academy, where I now work with a bunch of providers, mostly managed service providers within the region, identifying ways to make their businesses more operationally efficient, reduce the risks to their business, putting in good processes, helping them grow the business, becoming more profitable.
Yeah, we'll get to all of that. But tell us a little bit more about Pax8, because as I said, I doubt many outside the IT industry and and again, I preface it with, we say MSP a lot, and a lot of people outside the industry, what's MSP stand for? It's a weird terminology. It stands for Managed Service Provider, which we refer to our business as. But tell us about Pax8 and what they do, not just, and we'll get to the academy, but what's the crux of the business?
So crux of the business is it's a marketplace where you can buy your cloud licenses. So for instance, your Microsoft licenses that you on-sell to your clients, you can purchase it through us. It integrates with what's called a professional services automation system, which makes things a lot more simplified around how you're acquiring and selling and procuring your licenses. So it's a huge part of what we do. We've also got a professional services team, and atop our licensing, we've got a great team of account managers that are focused on ways to add value to your business and having continual touch points and conversations with you. We've got a professional services team which can do some of the heavy lifting for projects as well. So if you're looking at doing a Azure migration, for example, from on-prem to Azure, you could engage with our professional services team. They will do the work for you, hand it over when it's done, and really, really interesting, compelling stories are coming out of that, of us finding ways to get Azure funding from Microsoft to pay for the project itself, giving higher margins as well. Outside of that, then there's the academy part, where we're focused on working with partners who are transacting and working with Pax8 on a specific subscription. You get to work with us. We'll work with your business leaders, weekly accountability, identifying drivers and keys and things that'll make your business more profitable. And those three things together, if we're helping you grow, helping you deliver better, reducing the risk, making your business grow in revenue and size and things like that, it's reciprocal for us because you buy more licenses. So it's a great partnership model that we have there.
It is. And the business, Nathan, started, it's only been in Australia and New Zealand for how long? It feels like a long time, but
2.5 years or so.
Yeah, it's only 2.5 years. So the business is international, started in the United States, I believe.
Yeah, and the US.
Yeah, and it has really taken Australia and New Zealand, and of course now Asia Pacific, from what I understand, by storm. And one would say, how is it? Is it the platform? It's a lot of things, but this is from my perspective. I'm just giving my perspective, and maybe Pax8 might disagree with this, but I think it's mostly because of the people. These are, I often say about our business, we're not really a technology company primarily.
Mm.
We're a people business.
Mm.
We're here to solve problems for people, and it just happens to be IT. And I
Yeah.
think it's the same for Pax8. It's all in regards to people. So I was lucky enough to be sent to Bali to a conference with Pax8, and it just shines through. Though everyone, it's in regards to people, and it comes from the very top downwards.
Mm.
That's a pretty key component for Pax8, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a lot of great people that are really passionate, and it's combined with a lot of people with vast experience within the industry, and people who are young but keen and willing to learn and have that level of enthusiasm, and all focused on delivering value and enablement and helping partners, the companies that we're working with that work with us do better, whether that's through things like the integration, like you said, in the platform, or if it's around enablement, education, thought leadership, engagement, just what can we do to raise the standard of business within our region? Because so much depends on technology. It's the cornerstone of most businesses now. It's such a huge, has such a huge impact in the productivity of our region, and we want to make sure we're having an impact there with the right people.
Yeah, 100%. And before we get to what you do specifically for us at the Academy, you mentioned, it's obviously a cloud marketplace for licensing, and that's usually important. The other thing from our perspective is, and we'll probably also touch on this, we have to be, a mile wide in terms of our knowledge, and it's a real challenge for our business because clients expectedly come to us, and that's absolutely fair. But we should know the answers to absolutely everything. And where I think, we rely on a number of vendors, not just Pax8, but we certainly rely on the knowledge. And obviously you're on selling, best-in-class platforms from around the world, whether that's security platforms or Microsoft licensing or what have you, usually complex. So there's a lot of value adding the knowledge there, which we find, really, really good. We've been looking at new security awareness training platforms, and Pax's, guide us down the right path in regards to what is, fit for purpose for this, this style of business and what's the right product. So it's not just a transactional thing.
Yeah.
And again, it comes back to the people, right? It's the people telling us the right advice, not just clipping the ticket.
Yeah. And I've never wanted to work with a transactional company, so I'm glad that through what I do as a role as well, it's very not transactional, but as a whole of the business, we've got that perspective, like I was saying, around enablement and education as well, and not just order takers, which is something I talk to a lot of managed service and technology providers about as well. Not just being an order taker where they're going, hey, I saw this thing out there and I want it, but coming to them with solutions or guiding them on what the right solution is for the problem or the opportunity as you're working through it.
Yeah. So moving to what you do particularly for us. So we obviously started our engagement with Pax8 on the cloud marketplace and all those sorts of things. And I'll probably preface this with the fact that we as a business, sort of peeking under the hood a little bit, it's nothing, we're very public about it, but we run the EOS system, and some people know that. It's again started by a guy called Gino Wickman. I think out of the United States. It's been going for a number of years. It's been in Australia for quite some time. It's essentially a system. It stands for Entrepreneurial Operating System. It's a set of tools to guide your business in terms of accountability and people and process and data. And it's I'm yet to come across someone that has looked at the system and given it a red hot crack and said it's no good. Everyone that I come across that says that it's great. It's a foundational guide to deal with issues and run meetings and all those things that I said. So that's one component of what we do to run our business and deal with the issues and expand and grow, which I think is really important for our customers, because a growing business can provide better solutions. It's active, it's nimble, it's got the right people in the business driving the right solutions. So I'm really passionate about that. But another component, which was, I wouldn't say, I don't think we were off track, but we found Pax8 Academy and what you do. It was all around refining of processes. So how do we become? There's so many components to it. You might touch on a few and then we can expand. But for one of our things is really having a very, very tight process within the operational component of our service desk. We have pretty good, but like all businesses, it's up here
Yeah.
with some key people, and that's it's not an expandable, scalable model.
Mm.
So you come in. We started, and we've never had sort of any problems with our financials or what have you. We're relatively strong in that component. I'm not going to shy away from that.
Yeah.
I think it's important for our customers to know that we're we're financially stable. So you maybe touch on that. You do quite a bit of work for partners, obviously not us, but that come to you and say, negative EBITDA, and that could be process. It could be a number of things. So what's the sort of the process you guide businesses through in those situations, Nathan?
Yeah, so it's interesting because we get some where they're doing quite well like yourself and just want to bed down and do a little bit better, or take the weight off your shoulders so you're not dependent on single people. Some that we engage with may engage us and they're running at 2-5% EBIT or a net profit as an example. So that's something that will come through sometimes, and we have to unpack a lot of things, and often it'll be through asking a lot of questions, which you're well familiar with. I ask a lot of questions and I'm very curious, which helps me with this role.
Yeah.
Unpack, what are some of the root causes of that? So, what are the financial levers that are stopping you from making a profit or holding you back from growth? And, often it's things like you're discounting services. You're focused on purely just revenue. You're not focused on profit. So you're keeping around accounts that you might be making $500 a month on, and you're spending $1,000 a month service. You're only looking at the $500. You're not looking at what it's taking to do it. Big parts is inefficiency, that point where it's dependent on everyone. Maybe everyone also has a completely different idea of what the process is or how it should be. So you've got people running around all over the place, flapping their arms about, scrambling about, as opposed to putting a little bit of control and process in place. So it's a lot of that, a lot of focusing on moving the transactional break-fix model away with clients, either moving them to a managed agreement or a security and managed agreement, something that's all-encompassing of what they want to do as a business and where they see the minimum requirements are to be a safe operating business. And for those other ones, helping them find the provider that's providing the service that that client wants. That was what was the standard 10 years ago, because we don't want to be the company of 10 years ago, as an example. We work through everywhere in the business. So that could be your service, how your professional services automation is set up. So like your ticketing system, invoicing, a whole bunch of project management, all the processes that sit over the top of that. How you're doing account management, how you're doing sales, how you're doing marketing. You're just burning $10,000 a month generating these leads, and they're not your ideal client profile and things like that. We work through everything within a business.
There's a amount like I couldn't believe, and I want to. This is probably for people sort of in the industry that might be watching this. It's I think people say you've got the academy and you've got these amazing set of tools, right? And I think it's great, but it's a lot about the tools, but it's actually not. I mean, they're to the side. I think the real benefit is obviously there's a few components, and this is the way I see it. It's you've got the tools, but they're all useless if you don't know how to execute on them. So they're just words on paper, really, and processes that don't have meaning. So you really you've got us through. Let's maybe talk to one specific component, which is there's an enormous amount of complexity in our business. We're obviously receiving requests from clients. And again, we spoke about it earlier, they're a mile wide. So everything from printer doesn't work, need, and I might use the example of a new user coming into an organisation that we look after, to hugely complex projects. Needing, for example, I'm talking at the moment with an organisation that needs to lift and shift very complex service from Hong Kong to Australia. It requires a lot of scoping. Project. So you look at the project management component of all that and how that flows through, and making sure people are effective, and we're making dollars on that as well. But one of the first things that kicked off. So there's so many components to it. But one of the first things was I thought we had a pretty effective service desk, and our CSAT scores certainly reflective of that. One of the things that our clients constantly say is our speed, efficiency.
Yeah.
But one of the things you help us with is process mapping that out to an even greater detail. and really there was two major things that come from it for us was we gained a lot of efficiency, which enabled us, you might say, well, it's a funny thing to be telling your customers, but it's really important because it's enabled us to double down on the areas for the customers that actually matter even more.
The value adds, right? Yeah.
Correct. And it's become very system orientated, very process driven. We get it to a point where it's cookie cutter where it should be. And then obviously, the human element is still really, really strong. So you guided us through that and you've been a great listener in sort of seeing what we've done. But that's a big component, isn't it? Is working. It's not only a process that, you obviously know what's best in class, but every business is different and the people attacking the design of it and the implementation are different. Talk us through, that process here, because there's 1,000 other examples just in the service desk of how that happens. That was we probably spent the best part of 2 or 3 months on that, didn't we?
Yeah. And for context, it's sometimes 6 to 12 months with some businesses, which I've told you about before. It depends on the size and complexity of your business, and you work very fast. Yeah. Quickly on that as well. Quick pointer there as well. You mentioned around your CSAT was good, but when we looked at that as an example, you weren't getting the responses that you would expect in terms of
they were
the rate.
High, but not the rate was
not the volume.
It was low. Actually, talk us through that. That was incredible. That's changed our business.
Yeah. So that's a really minor tweak that a lot of businesses that send out customer satisfaction can do. Really, all the tweak that we did there, because I noticed that your response rate was quite low. Put how did we do, or how was your experience, or something like that as a prompt in the title of the email, because otherwise they're just getting a notification that my ticket's been solved. And great, my ticket's been solved. I already know it's been solved because I'm using my printer, I'm using my laptop. I don't need to read that email. It's going to sit with the 6,000 other unread emails that I have, which drives my wife crazy when she sees anything that I've got. But it's a lot of what I bring, and you probably seen it too, is that psychological element around things as well. What's the user experience? What's the staff experience? And making it easy for people to do what we want them to do or what we need them to do. So CSAT prompts for feedback in the title so that they open the email as a starting point. And then don't put like a huge logo banner and they have to scroll, 3 times before they get to the bottom to actually put a smiley face, put it up front and center. So we did those changes and immediately saw some great response.
Yeah, a 6-fold increase.
Yeah.
To CSAT scores. And again, under the hood, and be very transparent about it. We want to hear that the successful story is good for our staff, and it reaffirms what we're doing right. But we really want to know when we haven't got it right. And we don't get it right 100% of the time. Sometimes we think we have, and we're patting ourselves on the back. But I actually want to know when we haven't. And sometimes that's through no fault of ours or the clients. It's situation. Computers, technology can be technology. And I'll also interject in there and say, people, I say this to our team and clients all the time. People never ring us up and say, "Geez, my computer, it's working wonderfully." They just don't. Right there, no. It's critical pieces of component of a business. Another thing I'll say is clients don't turn up to work, and if they turn up to work and their internet or their IT infrastructure is not working, either the computer or any part of their infrastructure is not working, you tidy up your desk, you shuffle your papers, and you're probably ready to go home. Business doesn't operate.
It's different to 10 years ago, right? Where you could file the faxes, or you could go and do this thing, or you'd go.
You can't even hold a meeting anymore because everyone's in other locations. Cactus. So it's and the reason why I say that is that the expectation has certainly, and rightly so, risen. Particularly since the era of COVID. It was rising before that, but it's amplified now. And the level of expectation and uptime and all those sorts of things, and the cost. And again, I'm being transparent. The willingness of people to pay for those for that services hasn't risen in lockstep with the expectation.
With the demands. Yeah.
So we as a business got to get the efficiencies in order to provide a high level of service. It's the cold hard reality of it. So back to we did a lot of work there. And another thing that, so process, huge amounts of process, but another thing that we tie in very closely with you guys and the with yourself and the EOS process. Is things like we're working very strongly on our accountabilities within our business, so ensuring that everyone in our business is very clear on what their accountabilities, what the outcomes should be, KPIs, their OKRs, and that's been an eye-opening process to go through, hasn't it? It's another one. I suppose we're a bit more advanced in some senses, and we've still got a lot of work in other areas. But that's been an eye-opening experience for us, hasn't it?
Yeah. Just defining the roles and what they're about, and we've had some good conversations about that lately, right? Around what the expectation is versus is that expectation being met? Well, is that expectation clear? Is it written down as an accountability or part of a success profile or something that says you're expected to hit this in service gross margin as an example, or you're expected to run these types of meetings quarterly with clients, and this is the agenda for them. So there's work to do there. There's work to do with everyone when it comes to that, though. So, are you setting good top level goals around what you want to do for growth or profitability? And then are your departments also now tying in and supporting that? So, talking about levers and things, as finance, keeping on top of things like cash flow. They're making sure that we don't have outstanding invoices and things like that. Is service desk running as efficiently as it can do because we're bringing in the money. How we use our service desk impacts how much money is left over once we've paid our staff and provided the service. How can we be more and more efficient? You mentioned before, costs continue to rise, demand continues to rise, but the amount we charge for it tends to not match that. So as a result, we need to figure out how to do more with less people. Sales, are you selling enough, but also are you selling things at a margin, or are you discounting because you're chasing a revenue target? Those are some of the key things that I see with accountabilities and clarity with the role, is aligning it to a top level of what it is that we as a business want to achieve, as opposed to, well, this is what your role should be, so just go and do that and it should be okay.
Getting accountable people with really clear direction. I've never been a great lover of for job descriptions per se, for job description's sake. It's clear that having accountable people that have got direction and take a hold of issues is really important. It's something we're pretty proud of in our business, is that we don't shy away from the cold hard things. And excuse my French, but we've got a pretty good culture of the three F's. Is we fuck up, we fess up, and we fix up. And it's pretty in your face, but it's it comes back to having good accountability. We do bugger it up like every business. We're dealing with high uptime stuff and all that sort of thing. But we get straight on the phone, we fess up, and then we fix it up with clarity. So and I think that all the process, we've been good at that, but the process that you've put in front of all of that has been what enables to turbocharge it. So we've got a big philosophy in our business that we really want to 10x our business, but not do it through acquisition. Our industry is fueled by acquisition, so other businesses buying other businesses, and hats off to people that do it. I got this weird thing in my head that I think it's cheating. So it's easy to go out and get funding or fund it yourself and what have you, but there's another thing to build a business organically. And I think we're certainly on track to do that. What's some of the other things you see businesses, because obviously you're dealing with businesses that need a turnaround story, and then you're dealing with some businesses, and obviously you're not naming names or specifics, but what are some of the other things that you guide through businesses to, when they're at that level of maturity, to 10x? What are the things that you're talking to them about on a daily, sort of, or not daily, but weekly basis?
So a big part we talked about efficiency. Efficiency is a big area, and I think it gets thrown around a lot. Efficiency, people don't tend to have even awareness of what it really means. So we're trying to do more with less, particularly for smaller businesses, because you're generally constrained. It can't be a case where every time you get a new client on board, you need to go and hire a new engineer, because that will eat into your profits and you don't create a sustainable business model. So lot of what we're working through is that service fundamental stuff, which I didn't actually answer before, but how's your service boards? How's the ticketing working? How does the workflow? What are the processes? How do you take the ticket or the request or the incident in? How do you get it to the right person? How do you get it at the right time so that they're not trying to do 5 things at once and doing none of them? We work through a lot of that, as well as working through the mindset with a lot of owners in particular of not every business is good business. And the sooner they realize that and come to terms with it, the quicker we see the turnaround in terms of things like profitability and growth, because they're not chasing, a 2-person band that doesn't care about cybersecurity when cybersecurity is the core part of your package. You're not focused on them. They can go elsewhere. If we want to reach them in the future, maybe we'll do some thought leadership. We'll put on some events. We'll engage with the community. Those are other ways that you can capture those people and raise their awareness rather than pay to support them in the hope that eventually they'll pay you back. So we work on a lot of that. So I'm a big fan of making sure that we're chasing profitability as opposed to chasing revenue, because as you know, talking to other business model owners, you might say you're a $10 million business. Someone else might be like, oh, well, I'm a $20 million business. Those businesses could have the exact same amount of profitability and be expending double the amount of effort to support it. So there's a lot to be said with what we do with that, of just clarifying that owner mindset of what it is that I'm about, what my business is about, who I want to work with. I'm not going to say yes to everything. If someone wants me to do data analytics and I'm not a data analytics company, I'm going to tell them that's not what we do. I'm going to find you a partner maybe who does. And it's a big opportunity there. And the industry is identifying the things that you don't do well and finding someone to partner with and referring the work between each other.
And that's obviously inward looking, and what you do for us is great for our business, but it actually has real outcomes for clients. We notice that our clients and the clients that you work with, and I'm probably speaking anecdotally, but I'm sure this is 100% true. If you're a more profitable company, you're more efficient, you're serving customers more efficiently, getting to them quickly, you've got the right people dealing with the right issues, all these things that go on forever. That's better outcomes for the client.
Yeah.
They're getting their issues dealt with faster. They're getting they're presenting less issues to the business. I'm always saying, if you're not calling All I.T or your reduction in calls, we take on businesses, and once they go through our really stringent onboarding process, our security process, our efficiency process, we're guiding the business through what best in class looks like for them in their industry and their size. That will eventually lead to us not calling, them not calling us very often. That's the best outcome for problems.
That is the best outcome. Yep.
We want to be engaging with them on a higher level on the things that matter. Driving efficiency, for example. I've got someone at the moment that is in a business, they're running their business off a spreadsheet. Big business. We've got access to...
Scary, right?
It won't be us, but it is scary. But, we've got access to the right people in the industry to say, we've seen this and this work. This is a strategic engagement. You need to spend quite a bit of money, but this is going to transform your business and have some really, strategic conversations with them. And that allows us to do that. If we're chasing our tail, trying
computer's broken again.
Our SLAs are out by days, and crap's breaking because it shouldn't. That stuff. I can't stress, problems don't eliminate altogether. That's not reality. But it allows us to have much more strategic conversations. Another thing in our business, and I believe the industry is moving towards hugely, is we're becoming primarily, obviously, as I say, we're a relationship business that does IT. But we're very much becoming a business that is in regards to consultancy, advisory, in regards to the cybersecurity. Everything we do is got a layer of cybersecurity. But we're seeing, we deal with quite large businesses. And what we're seeing is that businesses are coming to us for advisory around not just the implementation of cybersecurity, but all the periphery of that. So, what policies do they need? They're going for a tender for a large supplier, and they need the consultancy around that. They've got boards, etc. Again, the work that you do for us is just that elevation of being much more professional, having all the things to allow us to focus on that. What's your belief in, do you think that, that's my personal belief of where the industry is heading, we'll be primarily consultants and advisors in this space, and secondary will be, IT, support company and that, does some projects. That's what I believe in the next sort of 5-ish years. Do you think that that's possibly where the industry is going?
I think it will for some businesses, for the more the mature outward focusing businesses, because the struggles or the challenges that we're talking about with finding efficiency and pricing models aren't changing and things like that. That's across the board. Everything's just getting more and more expensive. We have to figure out how to do things quicker and better. I don't necessarily think it's going to be 5 years. I think it's going to be 10, 15 years. It's going to be a slow burn, and it's going to build out. It's not going to be a case of everyone gets cybersecurity and the need for it tomorrow or anything like that. Where I think it's going with IT in particular is that it's going to be experience driven more so than it's going to be output driven. And I think that's the biggest thing that I am working with businesses, because that output driven is you spend 100 hours fixing things that were broken for us. And you talked about it. That's not a good service. That means that you're not getting in front of things. You're not stopping things from happening. Yeah, completely reactionary. It also means that every time that happens, that's downtime, that's stress for your staff, that impacts their overall satisfaction in their work. That satisfaction in their work is now directly linked to IT. You said it before. If the internet goes down, we can't do any work. How good is that for me if I've got deadlines to meet and I'm already stressed about not being able to meet those deadlines? Do I have to go home and work? I go home and work. Is it even going to work? Is it my computer's broken? All the variables that happen there. Yep. So experience is going to be the key driver. And out of that experience, IT needs to move from being we keep the lights on or we fix things when it's broken, to working alongside or within your business to identify new revenue streams, new ways of doing things, new opportunities. What tools can we leverage? Automation, AI, whatever it is that's out there that maybe suits, and us providing the governance and the expertise over the top of it, because we understand it, we see it in the industry, we know what the challenges are, we're familiar with things like the privacy laws that come into place, all those types of things. There's a higher level consultancy thing there. So
strategic direction for these people.
Yeah, direction for it as well. And being able to tie that, we talk about service multiple wages and things like that. How much are you making off each employee and things like that? I think as an industry, we need to get to the point where we're providing that level of insight to our clients as well, and we're able to have those conversations like what you and I have as an example. I'd like to see IT companies doing that with businesses they're working on. Well, if you make this tweak or you use this, your productivity and your efficiency is going to go up. You're going to make $100,000 a year per staff member. Imagine having that as a conversation as an IT provider and then being able to deliver on it. That's a really compelling value proposition that not many out there are doing, which is also going to be something that they're going to be happy to pay for, as opposed to, well, your laptop's broken, why don't we replace it with this other laptop that does the exact same thing? So that's the part where the industry needs to elevate itself.
Getting strategic and the industry does. I think what it comes down to is that we need to get away that this is just a cost center to this is an opportunity to leverage technology. And we're seeing the really, when we really engage really well with companies through our relationship managers and through our leadership team and have the right conversations, seeing that and then, even the smart operators are really engaging in those conversations. And, a bit of context, you and I laugh a lot around AI because, every single thing we go to is like AI, it's just constant. But where I see in particular where we're having really engaging conversations that are getting strategic results, like tangible results. We could go through 3 or 4 where we're using AI in our business to drive better outcomes for us. But the biggest effect is on the client. And we're seeing it with a number of clients that do that. And they're strategic conversations, right? You've got to know someone's business to be able to say, what about this, and this process and particular product? So that's really good. So I think that we could talk for hours because this is a really I think it's been an amazing process for a business and continues to be as we mature. Not necessarily mature, but as we need to mature into the growth. Because our business changes constantly. We're growing at a fairly rapid rate. We've got a very strong desire to maintain very high service standards and levels of customer service through that. Increase our engagement. So it's just challenges, and again, it's good to have these conversations and the conversations with you, because we often take a bit of a step back and go, this is actually really enjoyable, solving problems for people and solving problems
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
It's fun, and it should be
Oh,
fun.
it is. I love it. Yeah.
Everyone's in business to solve problems, right?
Yeah. That's
And,
why business
largely,
exists. There's a problem to
exactly.
solve. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's we're hugely appreciative, mate, of the work you do for us. You're an extension. We see you as an extension of our team, because we get a hell of a lot more professionalism, and I think it was really important for you to come on, for people inside the industry and for our customers to sort of say, there is a method behind our madness.
Yeah.
We've got we're pretty proud of the process that we go on behind the scenes, and the time we spend and the money we spend on it as well, to engage. And we've got a pretty young leadership team, and it might be a good opportunity for you to pump our tires up a little bit in regards to not necessarily me, but I'm really proud of our leadership team. We've got we've got a new co-owner and director, Dan Briggs, who's come into the business and smashing things, and Caleb, we've got a really, really strong, you don't sort of yet to deal with on the technical side, but Andy on our technical side, and then our team of relationship managers who are guns, really technical but really strategic driven, and then everyone else in the business. That's been nice to see as well, because they're passionate, aren't they, our leadership team?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you've got a really great leadership team. If anyone's really looking at, developing capability out of young people, I think what you have there is exemplary of how to do it as well, right? So, for context, they are younger. I don't think either of them have been in the IT industry like a huge amount, right? They've come from other industries as well.
Correct.
And now they're effectively running departments successfully. Purely really because of their openness to learning, their coachability, their drive and ambition as well comes through, obviously, but also having the right environment behind them to support them in their growth. And so, your commitment to having that young leadership, as opposed to going out and buying it, because that's usually what you do. You go and acquire someone who's got sort of grey hairs and been through it already.
We've still got plenty of those, mate.
I know.
Particularly in the technical side of things. But sorry, go on. Yep.
But that capability and that willingness to experiment and try things and continually improve is something that you and them do particularly well. And hats off to you, because I think that you've got an exceptional team.
Thank you.
From everyone that I've always had.
You always tell us I always say, geez, we're going slow, and you're like, no, you're going 10 times faster than you should be. Just slow down. So, and everyone in my team's like, we just hit the pause button. I'm like, no, we're going to do this, we're going to do that.
Yeah, but
we implemented just to for everyone, and our managed customers know this, but we've implemented a complete new way that customers contact us. This is probably more so for people that don't do business with us yet, but so we have the capability of getting immediate rapid response support via Microsoft Teams in chat. So you can chat to us and we'll respond. SLA is well under a minute in terms of response, and you get a hold of an engineer for a rapid response type situation. I need, this level of access, so I need quick things, and then they will triage that if it's something more complex and get it through to the right engineer, etc. That's been revolutionary, and you've guided us through that process as well. And we've run at that at 1,000 miles an hour and implemented. We've had some hiccups, but it's been good. But it's certainly 1,000 miles an hour, right?
Oh, absolutely. And that was definitely one where it was a good idea that we talked about, and then the next week it was in place, and then we had to go, all right, well, let's build the processes, and then we've tweaked it since, and it's worked great. So again, ties back into that experiential thing of how are we consuming and accessing technology, and where a lot of companies fall short is that it is still purely just email or phone, or we give them a portal, which is just another website that people have to remember. Whereas from a user experience point of view, you're providing Teams, they have access to Teams, you have access to Teams. If we can tie it in with the accountability and visibility in your PSA, that's again a no-brainer really, and it is a thing that IT services companies need to think around, is that what's referred to as omni-channel communications, where they can contact us through multiple different ways and it's all consistent across. So,
and the primary one should be where we're meeting them where
the customer wants to be, right?
We just see most of our customers. We can provide out of Slack and things like that as well. But they're working out of Teams. They're doing lots of SharePoint stuff. I mean, our meetings, we do whiteboard sessions. I mean, you're in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And we're dotted all throughout Australia in terms of our leadership team. We do everything through the team. So we just like, this is, if we're not meeting our customers where they are and as soon as possible, we're going to get left behind. So that's why we made the decision around it, 1,000,000 miles an hour. So, and then had to change our service model to make sure that we could service that in seconds, not minutes or hours.
Yeah, I'll get to your chat tomorrow.
Well, we've got a client coming over big client coming over to us at the moment who's, their average response time is days, and I'm just like, well,
yeah, wow,
that
not on our watch.
No, it can't happen. So,
no.
Mate, look, as I said, we could go on for a long time. We're hugely appreciative of the work you do. Looking forward to 2025 when we get down some of the systems. We're doing a lot of growth and a lot of new people coming on in terms of customers and team members. So that's going to bring new challenges, which will help us with. So, mate, really appreciate your work. We appreciate Pax8. We're hugely appreciative of some of the management who got us through that process and some of your teammates. So thanks for coming on, and looking forward to 2025, mate.
Yeah, same. I can't wait to see what we get done in the next year. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, mate. See ya.